This is the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Schola in the Narrowgate Security Agency studios.
And they will do all that they can to protect Hillary and try to change the narrative, as you've already heard, I'm sure. They will support her anyway and prop her up because they participate in this phony and failed war on women.
Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, one will be president. Today's guest is here to tell us why we must do everything in our power to make sure it is not Hillary. Juanita Broadrick says she was raped by Bill Clinton, and she claims Hillary helped cover the whole thing up. Today, Broadrick returns to the Palin Update, and she wants Mr. Trump to know he has her blessing if he wants to use her story on the campaign trail, even in the debates. Don't miss Juanita Broadrick coming up on Mama Grizzly Radio. Sarah Palin praises our amazing American athletes in Rio. Back to school for the Palins, and a brand new installment of Liberty and Legacy with Tamara Colbert is on the way from Texas. Sarah Steelman is off this week. Welcome to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. The Palin Update is sponsored by Narrowgate Security Agency. Learn more at narrowgate.com. Juanita Broadrick has told her story on this program before. Today she's back, imploring people to do their research and discover the real Hillary Clinton. Broadrick contends if you do that, there's no way you'd ever vote for the former Secretary of State. And right now we welcome Juanita Broadrick back to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Juanita, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, Kevin.
So great to have you here with us. You've really become a great friend of the program, and you know, your story, of course, it's been well documented. People have talked about Bill Clinton and his various indiscretions over the years. And it's one thing to talk about a girlfriend or a one-night event or an intern or what. I mean, as we know, the list goes on and on and on. But you haven't minced words on this with Bill Clinton. You say you were raped by Bill Clinton. Yeah,
that's right. And Kevin, you know, for the longest time, all I could say was sexually assaulted. But that night, when Trump went on Hannity and said the word rape, it just sort of released me to say that word, you know, which is so abhorrent to me.
Well, you have our support, and you know you have the support of so many people, and you know it's funny, and I don't mean in a funny way, but it's funny when you hear Hillary Clinton and people talk about her as this courageous woman and this groundbreaker and this brave woman. I think of Juanita Broadrick is a brave woman and courageous, who is a woman of God, a woman who is enjoying her life and is past these people in an unbelievable way, really. But the reason you're speaking up is because of the situation going on where Hillary Clinton, who you've called downright evil, and many agree with you, is one step away from the White House.
Oh, I know. It's just absolutely the most disgusting thing that I can think of, is her being in the White House.
Now, how about this narrative that gets painted by the left and by the media? Because I know it makes my skin crawl, so it really must irk you to no end. When Hillary Clinton, a woman who covered up what happened to you, who threatened, as you've told us, according to Juanita Broadrick, what happened to you, let alone all of the other situations. The list goes on, from Jennifer Flowers to Paula Jones to Monica Lewinsky to, I can't name everybody. We'd be here too long. When she goes out there and talks about being a champion for women and how the media and Democrats and others agree with that. You heard it at the convention again and again. It was one of the themes. She's there. She's first woman to be the nominee, and she's here to fight for women. But of course, there's an asterisk there. Not when it's Juanita Broadrick or any of the others that I mentioned. Right.
Not when it's not when it's any of the women that Bill assaulted.
So when you saw the convention and what's been going on here, the battle between Clinton and Mr. Trump as we head, well into August now, as we're heading towards September, how do you feel about things? And do you feel that the real picture of Hillary is out there? Because, you know, she has these nice...
Oh, no, not at all. You know, the media, the liberal media is not portraying things as they are. And we all know that, Kevin.
She has these nice polished commercials. Everyone keeps talking about her experience, even though they can't ever name an actual accomplishment.
Oh, I know it, and she can't either.
It's like saying you played quarterback for 10 years, but your team went 0-16 every year and you led the league in interceptions. It's one thing to be in the position. It's another thing to be successful in it. You know what I really appreciate about you, though, Juanita, and also others that I mentioned, Paula Jones and some others who were victimized by this family, according to y'all. I see some of your posts on social media. I see some of the things you talk about. And you know what? Rarely do either of you talk about you being a victim. You actually just talk like I would or anyone else and talk about the laundry list of negatives against Hillary and why she shouldn't be president. And it's so refreshing to see here you, a real victim, isn't playing any kind of victim card. Or you just sound like any other intelligent voter who's putting these red flags out there and trying to show everybody the facts.
Oh, I know, and it gets hard, but I just keep trying to do all I can. Did you see the article on Breitbart that was done by Kathleen Willey and Paula Jones?
Yes. Supporting
me against Andrea Mitchell? I thought that was the bravest thing.
Well, I think all of you have been brave, and they throw that word around, as you know, in this in the last few years, you'd think the only brave people have been, you got to be a liberal, you got to be a Democrat. You hear these things, say that's bravery. But meantime, here's a woman who, again, one of her main themes is to be a champion for women. But how were you treated by this family? How were you treated by Hillary Clinton?
Oh, absolutely awful. Just like that's been publicized, where she threatened me after the rape. She is a very evil, corrupt woman, and there's nothing else you can say about her. Someone asked me here lately, if you had anything to say to Hillary Clinton, what would it be? If you had a one-on-one with her. And the only thing I could say to her is, tell the truth. For gosh sakes, once in your life, tell the truth.
Novel idea, right? And the hypocrisy, we talk about it, we use words like that, and we talk about how the media is biased, but if you really look at the level of it, it's unreal. The other day, Mr. Trump said he regrets some of the language or words that he may have used throughout the campaign if he hurt anybody along the way, and right away he's lambasted for it. Oh, he's lying. Oh, this and that. Meantime, Hillary can lie about Juanita Broadrick. Hillary can lie about Benghazi, where 4 Americans died. Hillary can lie about Whitewater. Hillary can lie about her email scandal. It goes on and on and on, and the media and the left and the establishment uniparty looks the other way, whereas, Mr. Trump, one thing or not, he's not believed no matter, what he says as far as this narrative that's pushed, and that's why, we need Americans like you to speak out.
Well, thank you, Kevin. I'm doing all that I can. But she doesn't really lie about me. She doesn't answer questions about me.
That's well said. It's funny. That seems to be the Democrat way. We talk about Donald Trump's speech the other day, addressing minorities, addressing inner city communities. And, for a long time, as we know, Democrats have hurt minorities with their policies, whereas a lot of establishment Republicans haven't necessarily hurt, but they've kind of ignored the whole community. I think that's the same MO with Hillary. Like you said, she can say, I didn't lie, but she doesn't answer. And that's why I think a lot of people are very, very interested in what's going to happen in the 3 presidential debates. First one on September 26th in Hofstra, New York, Hofstra University, I should say. Are you looking forward to that? And would you be surprised, or would you be supportive, I should say, if Donald Trump, says to her, hey, Madam Secretary, I want to hear a Benghazi thing, that's for sure. But how about if Donald Trump said to Hillary Clinton, look in the camera and address Juanita Broadrick, address Paula Jones? What was going on there? I could see that happening.
Oh, I would love it. I cannot wait for the debates to take place. I'm really looking forward to that. I think he will absolutely destroy her.
A lot of people are worried about what the formats will be as far as everything from the logistics of sitting or standing, because a lot of people think Hillary's health is terrible. They want to see Donald Trump's tax returns, but she won't put out her health report, which I think is a little more important, if we had a maniac like Tim Kaine become the president.
Oh, my goodness. That's just a horrible thought.
but you look at, one thing Trump has going for him, even if, and come on, we know these debates aren't going to be run fairly. It's certainly not across the board. If he gets a semi-fair handshake, he'll be lucky. But the thing about Trump, and one of the reasons I like him, is that he'll call them out, and I think he'll even call the reporter out, whoever the moderator is, the network. He's done it before, and he needs to do it, and he needs to be ready to do it right away, even if it means ignoring whatever the question is, because they're going to have ridiculous questions about these issues that we could care less about, whereas Donald Trump is talking about the real issues like ISIS, like immigration, like jobs, and that he is the best person for women and for minorities and for all Americans without labels.
Yeah, and I have no doubt that he will call her out on several things. I just think he'll handle himself very well.
I thought of you the other day, and not for a great reason, but I use this phrase on here all the time, shocking but not surprising, with things that I see and hear. I'm at the barber shop with my son waiting to go next, and this man is in the chair getting his hair cut, and he's talking about the election to the barber. Now, I know the barber's for Trump and was biting their tongue to not answer this guy, but he's up and down saying, Trump, the usual, calling Trump a clown, but no backup, no reasoning behind it. And then saying Hillary has experience, but again, no backup, no reasoning behind it. And then he starts to talk about President Clinton and starts to say, didn't you like Bill Clinton? Barber says, not particularly. And
my goodness.
And he keeps going. And then he says, almost waxing poetic, he says, well, he liked the ladies, with this sarcastic tone of like, yeah, Bill, this fraternity type mentality. And it's sickening. I'm there with my 5-year-old, you sit back and just take it all in. But and I thought of you. I said, let's take you off the board. Let's pretend it was just everybody else from, the names we mentioned. Well, that's bad enough that the guy did all the things he did and got away with it. But the way they try to make him this folksy guy, and meantime we have someone like Juanita Broadrick saying that she was raped, I don't think it's, you have a citizen sitting there, oh, he liked the ladies. It's tough to hear. And I thought
I know, and just like when that feminist article came out here, I don't know if you saw anything about that, where they were forgiving Bill Clinton for what he did to Juanita Broadrick, as long as he never did it again.
Wow.
I couldn't. I was just absolutely in a state of shock.
And you have a faction too, and granted, this is far left maniacs that would never vote for anyone but her anyway, but that believe that it's a strong point of hers, of the peccadillos of Bubba, because they say, oh, and look, she stood with him. The whole feminist deal, like, oh, well, she stood with him anyway. I mean, do they not see the setup? I mean, let's take all of that part out of it too. It's a corrupt situation. They're making millions of dollars. They're getting all of this power off of American citizens back. And it goes back to what we said with the Trump minority speech. Hillary cares about gays, women, and minorities during the election because she wants their vote. Once they're in, they're off the list too.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, correct.
And you saw that in Arkansas too, even before they were in Washington, right?
Oh, my goodness, yes. They were so powerful in Arkansas. It was just unreal.
And this is what Trump is trying to speak to people, to let them know, look, I'm a guy, I don't need any of this nonsense. They should believe him just from that standpoint. But
she didn't forgive him. She covered up for him.
Yep.
To keep them in power.
That is also right out of the Democrat playbook, and I guess even if you're husband and wife, they do it. But they do this all the time. Obama and Hillary couldn't stand each other, but as soon as it's time to endorse, they did it. Bernie and Hillary, same thing. And then in their own home, the Clintons together. It's all about power, make nice, and act in front of the camera, whereas the Republicans have the opposite problem. And if they do lose this, you could really point the finger at these people who are not getting behind Donald Trump out of spite. I mean, if you don't like him, that's one thing. But you want her? You want her Supreme Court? Because that's what you're going to get.
Oh, yeah. She's done nothing since she has been in office for anything. She has no accomplishments, Kevin.
Well, Juanita, you have really been a great voice here. And like I said, you could take away even your incident, which we don't want to. We want to talk about it because it's important to show people how you got through it and how you've had a great life since, but also to call her out. But it is impressive that you're able to, talk about this from a whole different standpoint, just like any other American who is doing their homework. I really am looking forward to these debates. And I think that, Donald Trump should know that you give him the green light to go ahead and talk about your story if that comes up on, a national play. I mean, what would she do? How would she answer this?
How would she handle that? I am hoping that it comes up. She can't handle it.
She can't. And if he's going to be allowed in any of these debates to actually go at her with all of these things we listed, I mean, unless people just don't care at all, you can't imagine. I mean, she's going to just decombust. I mean, there's no way to paint another picture. And,
Well, you're right there, Kevin. There's just and I'm just hoping that all of these things will come up.
All right, Juanita. Well, we appreciate you very much for being here and in general. And thank you again. And we're going to talk to you again before November, I hope.
Okay. Look forward to it, Kevin.
The brave Juanita Broadrick. You can follow our friend Juanita on Twitter at ATENSNUT. That's at ATENSNUT. The USA rolled over other nations at the Summer Olympics in Brazil. Sarah Palin highlighted many of the Americans throughout the exciting 2 weeks of action. This past week, Palin showcased several Olympians, including a woman Palin calls a great American and a mama grizzly. Kim Rode is the first athlete, male or female, from any country to win an Olympic medal at 6 consecutive Summer Games in an individual sport. The Trump-supporting NRA mom has won medals in shooting, her first medal coming all the way back in 1996 in Atlanta when she was just 16 years old. Rode is decidedly pro-Trump. She even spoke at the 2012 RNC. And the Mama Grizzly says shooting gives children a sense of discipline and responsibility and focus. Now, that is definitely a Palin Olympian. Back to school for some in Alaska, including Trig Palin. Governor Palin wrote on Facebook, quote, "First day of school, it's still quite the event, even after all those other first day of school times with our big kids. God bless all America's students and teachers as we kick off the new school year," unquote. And Palin included some adorable pictures of Trig and Bristol's son, Trip. The guys are growing up fast. To see any of the governor's posts in their entirety, visit Sarah Palin's Facebook page. Follow her on Twitter at Sarah Palin USA and check out sarahpac.com.
Now, the Palin Update with Kevin Scholla presents Liberty and Legacy. Here's Tamara Colbert.
I have been a fan of the Olympics since I was in 6th grade. I remember watching Eric Heiden in the Winter Olympics in 1980 win 7 gold medals in speed skating. And of course, who can ever forget the miracle on ice where Team USA hockey won gold against the Soviet Union. And yes, they were still called the Soviet Union because they hadn't broken up yet. That put such an indelible impression on my mind for the whole world coming together for sport. I remember watching over the years all these games, and this time has been no different. Just impressed by the impact of American-created sports on the world, like volleyball, beach volleyball, mountain biking, BMX biking, and of course, basketball. Freedom has allowed other countries not to just to try sports, but to embrace sports like basketball, like mountain biking, like the triathlon that was created by Americans, and make those international sports sensations. And along with those sports has come freedom. Freedom for many people who live in oppressed societies, but get an opportunity to experience freedom through sport. It's pretty amazing if you just look at how much the world embraces what America does. And you see the fans who attend the men's Team USA basketball games. And they're watching them and they're excited and they know everybody's numbers. And I can't help but think we can use that to spread freedom, to promote liberty and opportunity. And I think that's what is great about the Olympics and what I love watching about them. Even in today's hyper PC environment, the other thing I love about the Olympics is that not everybody gets a medal. Only those top 3 winners get medals, right? Those are the athletes committed to excellence that persevered in one way or another to win. And that commitment of perseverance, that commitment to excellence produces winners. America has been we were founded on religious freedom and a commitment to that. And look, through that religious freedom commitment, we were blessed. We've been so blessed over almost 400 years since our forefathers, my forefathers, came here on the Mayflower. I love that. I wish the average citizen would look around and say, hey, wait a second, not everybody gets a trophy or a medal. I have to excel at something to win. It isn't rocket science. It's just how the real world works. And we all know it, but nobody who's in leadership is championing that. And what I also noticed this time is the amount of Team USA Christian athletes who gave that glory in victory to God, humbled themselves, being thankful to the one who gave them those talents. I loved that. It was those little moments, to me, were personally inspiring. And as somebody who has watched the Olympics since 1980, it really did strike a chord, especially when I listened to the Team USA track and field women's who swept the 110-meter hurdles. They mentioned God first. They mentioned having a prayer circle and praying together over what they were doing. Wow, I felt proud that these victories were not just for sport, but an opportunity to inspire others in America that what they were doing, what they were humbled by, wasn't about self, but it was more serving someone else, whether it was God or their fellow teammates. I loved hearing also track and field gold medalist Alan Felix talking about her focus was on God, and just like her performances, which were never perfect, she is still a work in progress. Simone Biles, one of the most gold medal winning gymnasts in American history, mentioned her big faith and talked about it openly. Even Michael Phelps credits his comeback in swimming to being saved and filling the emptiness and void that he had with something that was God-given, something that was God-focused, something that he could have never achieved by his own merit. What I think I'm summarizing here, my point is that liberty and legacy in American culture, we were founded on Judeo-Christian principles. It's who we are as a people. It's in our DNA. Regardless what the mainstream media is going to try to tell you, having faith as an American is as American as apple pie and baseball, cowboys, Elvis, John Wayne, and yes, the Constitution. The gifts and strengths of all of us as individuals is what makes the American fabric so great. The Olympics give us an opportunity to appreciate the gifts and talents that God has entrusted each one of us with, When we watch the Olympics, that group of people are countrymen and women who get to wear that flag and represent us in sport. It's just a part of the American fabric, and it's what makes us really great. Watching these games reminds me that I need to be committed to excellence every day in everything that I do as well. I'm not an Olympian. I'll never win a gold medal. But in my mind, for my family, when I cook dinner, when I vote, I am winning a gold medal. And we need to think about that. My legacy is living my dream, but that's only determined by the commitment that I have to excellence. America as a nation's always valued hard work, determination, and perseverance. And fulfilling our dreams depends on how committed we are to being excellent at whatever we do. As a nation which has been focused on liberty and freedom and opportunity and justice for everyone, because in America, the scales of justice have a blindfold on for a reason, because the law should apply equally to everyone. This week, as you go about your personal race of life, I pray you will be committed to excellence, because it takes you to make America great. It is your commitment to being a great citizen that is going to enable you to help make America great. We can't rely on a president, and we can't certainly rely on the Congress. But you doing your personal best and trying, attempting, standing up on the field to do your best, to persevere through challenges, to win at life will help America be an inspired nation. And that will enable us to win together. I want to hear your feedback. Maybe what was your favorite Olympic moment? Tweet me this week at Tamara Colbert, hashtag Mama Grizzly Radio. Have a blessed week, everybody, and go for the gold. I'm Tamara Colbert for Mama Grizzly Radio.
Tamara Colbert in Texas. Tune in for more Liberty and Legacy next week. And to learn about Convention of States, head to conventionofstates.com. The Palin Update, including Liberty and Legacy and Steel Resolve, is on demand and available for download. So just head to mamagrizzlyradio.com, pick the show you want to hear, and you can listen anywhere, anytime. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Visit mamagrizzlyradio.com for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also, like Mama Grizzly Radio on Facebook and follow along on Twitter at Mama Grizz Radio, at Kevin Scholla, at Tamara Colbert, and at Sarah_Steelman. And I'm doing some writing for Breitbart News. Go to Breitbart.com and search Kevin Scholla. I want to thank Sarah Steelman, Tamara Colbert, and everyone here at Mama Grizzly Radio. Thanks to Juanita Broadrick, and thank you for listening today. A special thanks to our sponsor, Narrowgate Security Agency. Visit narrowgate.com. The Palin Update is produced by Lena Anderson, the Andy L. Kramer, and Lori Ann Lewis. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update right here on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.